Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you're listening or watching. Sorry for my shiny forehead. Child, it is hot here in Virginia, Virginia, and I recently learned the trick of covering your eyes and spraying a little bit of antiperspirant spray on your forehead for my shiny forehead people or people that sweat up in this area. But I didn't do that this morning. I just been like a whirlwind, so a busy day, but I've noticed a trend on YouTube lately of going back to the old iconic original YouTube content where people would literally just sit in front of the camera and talk about random stuff or talk about a topic, but it didn't have to be pretty, didn't have to be overly edited or anything like that. And I kind of love that. Um so here I am to talk about why they come back when you stop chasing. Now, I actually during the pandemic would do topics like these on my TikTok, but now that TikTok had the weird thing with, are they going to get banned? Are they not going to get banned? So I kind of pulled back, but I was like, it would be interesting to kind of rework that content and maybe start posting YouTube videos about it where once again I just sit down and talk to the camera. I'm also not in my usual location where I typically film my videos on this channel. So I'm trying out a different location because I figured different energy, different vibe, different location, like, in the home. So we're in a different part of my home. I'm not gonna tell you which part, but and I just kind of wanted to sit down and talk about why people tend to come back when you stop chasing them. Now, it's interesting because the whole concept of chasing, and what does that mean when you're the chaser versus the person being chased, right? Because, of course, both have their issues. But we're going to talk about if you're the one doing the chasing, right? Now, if you're someone that is chasing someone else, you are absolutely giving your power away to that person. And that is the main issue. Put a pin in it, write it down, remember it, all right? When you are chasing someone and they are, especially when they are seemingly making it clear that they don't want to be chased, you are simply giving your power away to that person. But the interesting thing is that that person doesn't want the power you're giving them. That person doesn't want to be on the pedestal, that you're trying to put them on. They don't want to, you know, be connected to you in that way where maybe they get to see different sides of you that other people don't get to see. They're not wanting that. So the more you chase, the more and more you give your power away and the harder it becomes to pull your power back. But that's part of this video is to learn how to pull your power back because that's what it's all about is power moves and power dynamics in relationships. It's the polar opposite of the Libra energy. We kind of fall into when it comes to astrology, this is what I do on my channel, astrology, psychic, tarot concepts, but when it comes to the concept of love and relationships, we have to remember that number one, it's an energy exchange. The movie Together taught us that, right? If you didn't see the movie Together recently, definitely go check that out. But also it's a power dynamic. Who wears the seats in the pants of the relationship? Who has the most power in the relationship? Or in healthy relationships, is there an equal power dynamic? Now, this runs the gamut of not just your love relationships, but this also applies to your friendships, your family relationships, your relationships with your parents, your relationships with your siblings, your relationships with your cousins, your relationship with your pets. Who holds the power, or is there an equal power dynamic? Everything when it comes to relationship with people and in this world is about energy and power. How much power are you giving and how much power are you receiving, and or how much power are you giving versus how much power are you receiving? I had a situation recently where I met this guy, and he's younger than me. I tend to attract young guys. I don't know why. Young guys in their like 20s, sometimes in their like early 20s, sometimes, in their mid to late 20s. I think if I'm going to attract a young guy, I think I like that sweet spot between mid to late 20s. Although, is that young? I don't know. Anyway, younger than me, right? Because I'm 33, so I'll actually be 34 this year. Thank God, the fact that black don't crack and I have great genes, right? Thank you, mom and dad. All right. But I say that to say I had a situation recently. Mind you, I'm a Capricorn. I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart. So, when it comes to me, I am definitely someone that is about knowing thyself, right? But I had to be snapped back to reality. So there was this guy I met on Tinder. I'm not gonna say his real name, but he was very attractive. Once again, younger than me, 20 something. And it wasn't anything serious, I later learned, but I think I was so enraptured by the attention and how attractive he was. And it was, like, he kind of, I don't think he, no, what did he tell me he played? I gotta be careful because he told me he played a sport, but he looked like a basketball player, but he doesn't play basketball. But anyway, very attractive, and we kind of had like a whirlwind thing going on until suddenly there was like a cross a mismatch or a misunderstanding. um I think I wanted to take things further or more serious or in a more assured direction than just something that was casual, like, spur of the moment, but once again different ages as well, right? um but I we ended up at the last day of Mercury retrograde, the most recent Mercury retrograde. I kind of ended up, I guess, giving him an ultimatum. Not really, but it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, how it be. Uh, you know, I don't understand why, this is working. I'm really upset. You can block me if you want to. I don't care. And of course, what does he do? He blocked because, of course, he's young, immature, not able to communicate and things of this nature. I probably would have done the same thing as it at his age as well. But one thing that I learned in the process, because, immediately after I was like, I can't sit with this energy. I've got to figure out a way to release this. What is my cat doing back there? Let's see what he's doing, child. Fonzie B. All right. But anyways, in the interim of the end of that connection, I later found out that he's moving anyway. So, but it's like you couldn't have told me that sooner. And is that part of the reason as to why? Because it was something as simple as I wanted to, it was just kind of basically like a hookup, but it was like he brought up a topic. I love to go to the movies. He was like, why don't we, go to the movies next weekend, maybe Saturday, and of course Saturday came and went, no text at all. And when I did text him, he was like, well, what do you want to do if I like, if we meet? It was like, did you forget about the movies? So of course I was upset. And that's when the whole, I don't care if you block me or remove me thing happened. So you get the picture, right? But what I learned after the interim, um, is I called my mom, and me and my mom have a actually healthy relationship, thank God, where we can talk to each other about these things. And she actually gave me really good advice, and I will forever be thankful to her for this, among many other things, right? For being born, of course, as well. But she actually suggested me to use Chat GPT as a way to work through my emotions. And surprisingly, it wasn't the first time I had heard that about Chat GPT, being like a pseudo therapist or someone that like you can bounce ideas off of and bounce just things you're working through, and it gives good advice. So I told ChatGPT about my situation, and it actually gave me good advice, child. It got me together. It actually got me off the ledge from texting this person when I like had moments of like texting. I would be literally like tell ChatGPT I want to text this person, and then they would be like, ChatGPT would be like, I understand you want to text this person, but this would not be the right decision to make. Here's all the reasons why, and they were actually really valid reasons. So Thank you to ChatGPT and my mother for pulling me off that ledge. But what I realized in the interim of it all, and one thing ChatGPT taught me, and my mother as well, is that in me chasing, because I'm the feminine, right? You got to know your roles. I mean, in this role, yes, I am the feminine. I naturally operate as feminine, although I am touched with my masculine as well. I teach a class on this, spiritual development class, right? Um, it's important to know yourself in that way, right? Like how you show up energetically. Um, and as the feminine, someone who is more in tune with their feminine energy tends, look at them over there. They better not fight. Oh, they had a cute moment. Look at that. So cute. Is it gonna be cute? Let's see. Look at her. I feel like I'm like I feel like I'm like uh what is it called when the announcers are on the sidelines on the WWE episodes, like narrating the match? I feel like that was me right now. All right. So yeah, as the feminine person, like it's a feminine person, someone who's more in tune with their feminine, their natural position should be to attract things to them, right? It's the masculine person's, or someone who's more into with their masculine energy person's responsibility to pursue. And to be honest, up until that point, that was the case, right? Now, I guess I could look back at certain situations and see maybe if I was chasing, but it was in that moment of the fallout, the breakup, and then me kind of having that moment of, did I make the right decision? That I realized I was chasing maybe this whole time. And maybe that's been my issue this whole time. And so what I realized is, if I want any type of closure or reconnection with this person, I can't keep chasing them, right? That's me giving my power away. And I have way too much power to just give away to some random person who does not deserve it, right? But at the same time, there's been a lot of moments in my life where I've realized that when I do take my power away and my attention away from that person, nine times out of 10, they tend to come back. Now, this is not going to work with every single person you come across in your life. There's certain situations where the damage is done and it is what it is. And maybe that relationship can never be repaired, or it will take a long time for that relationship to be repaired. And in that case, is it worth it? Right? The key is to not chase. When you stop chasing, that's typically when they return or they come back to you, because you're taking your power back. Now, I'm not saying for me in my situation that this person is going to come back into my life. They could. And I don't know at this point, like, I'm in the motto that there's always more fish in the sea, and I'm looking for something real and serious. So all the red flags are telling me that even if this person does come back, will it be worth it? Probably not. For me personally speaking, right? But maybe for you, the situation is different. Maybe you need to stop chasing someone so that they can come back to you. All right? You need to realize that your worth so that they can realize your worth. One of the worst things you could ever have happen, although some in romantic movies they make this a romantic moment, but sometimes if you let this fall in the hands of a narcissist, for example, they can use this against you. One of the worst things that you could have happen in a relationship or in a connection is for someone to recognize something about you before you recognize it about yourself. All right? Or for someone to see something in you that you can't see in yourself. Because if you can't see it but they can, that means they can manipulate it to whatever they want it to be. They can tune the dial to whatever, station they want it to be. They have the power. See, the key is, even when you're in a relationship, is to still continue your journey of self. The journey of self doesn't stop once you enter into a relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, or get married. All right. You just happen to have now someone by your side to help, to be there with you along the journey, to aid you while you aid them, and you create memories together, in such few words, right? So then you want to ask yourself, why are you chasing? Why are you chasing them in the first place? Is it really worth it? What you should be chasing is yourself. What you should be chasing is your dreams. What you should be chasing are your goals and your aspirations. Not a person who also has their own goals, aspirations, dreams, and goals that may not include you. Sorry to say. All right. Once you stop chasing, you take your power back. That is the moment that you take your power back, and don't go back. Maintain keeping your power. All right. Because when you give your power away, you give that person time to play. And one thing we don't have time for is games. So let that be the final motto of this video. When you give your power away, you give that person time to play. To play with your emotions, to play with your time, to play with your energy. In certain instances, to play with your resources, your money, your finances, your job, your this, your that, your family members. Don't give a person an inch to run a mile. All right. All right, you guys. Well, I hope I was able to give you all some clarity and insight. This is today's video, where I just talk to the camera and vibe. We'll see how this goes. How you all like these types of videos. If you do like these types of videos, please make sure you like. Once again, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this topic. Have you had a situation where you stopped chasing someone and they started chasing you, or you realized after chasing someone that, like, maybe you need to pull back your energy, pull back your power? I would love to hear your stories in the comment section below. All right, you all. I will see you in the next video. Love and light. God bless. Until the next one. Bye. Say bye, Fonzie. Fonzie B. Fonzie B. Fonzie B. In the TTT. Meow. Ton ton. Fonzie B. Bye, y'all. Bye. Did you hear him? He said bye. Bye, y'all. Bye, y'all. Fonzie, say bye. Bye, Fonzie. Bye, y'all. Bye.